Okay, good morning, everybody. As we go to the Chumash of the day, we're holding the sixth, today is Friday, we're holding the sixth reading of the portion of Parshas Miketz. We're holding on chapter 43, verse number 16. Yosef Itam as Binyamin, and Yosef saw when they came back to Egypt, Yosef saw Binyamin. Hey, Mashallah, basically told to those that are in the house, hey, bring the men into my house, and we're gonna make a party. And prepare, slaughter an animal, because in the evening we're going to eat together. So Rashi said, it was imperative to him to have a party. Mitzrayim, this illustrates Bishiruse, that the Targum, Ramaic term for denoting first meal of the day. So actually, Mitzrayim is the lunchtime, not the evening. Lunch. And the Rashi brings down how in the Gemara we see the word tzarayim, but tzarayim means lunchtime, the main meal. It's like in Israel today, the main meal is lunch. The man of the house did what Yosef commanded, and he brought them to the home. This was very unusual that Yosef would invite people to his house. So the men, the brothers got frightened. That they were being brought to Yosef's house. Why would Yosef pick them to bring them? So they said the only reason why we were brought back to the house on account of the money that came back in our sacks. So he's coming he brought us here to roll upon us, and to fall upon us, to take us our slaves, as our chamerenu and our donkeys. So now it says, it's written with two yuds, and the translation is they were frightened. And it was not the customary for others who came to purchase grain to lodge in Yosef's house, but in the inns of the city. So they were frightened that it was done only in order to put them in prison. And Abai says that we're brought into this house. Now she says to roll upon us, so that to fabricate the accusations regarding the money would roll upon us and fall upon us. Uncles, however, renders an asnapel, which is an expression denoting fabricated false accusation. Lilas devarim, making up false like a fake news. Verse 19, they came closer to the man. They spoke to him, but they didn't want to come into the house. They told us, please, our master, we came first to purchase food. What do you want from us? An expression and entry and supplication. Yoda did that is a degradation for us. We were accustomed to sustain others, and now we have to be sustained by you. Verse 21, behold, we came to the inn. We opened up our sacks. And behold, the money of each man was in his sack. The exact number, but we have brought him all the money back. Not only we brought the money back, we brought back more money. To buy more food. No, we don't know who put the money back into our sacks. So he said to them, Shalom lechem, peace be to you. Al tiro, don't be afraid. Elekechem, your God, velekeh and the God of your fathers. Nasan lechem matmim, when he gave you a treasure in your sacks. Kaspechem, which is your money. Boilai, come to me. Shimon, he took Shimon out to them. So Rashi says, in your merit, and if your merit is insufficient, then God of your father, the merit of your father gave you the treasure. So the man brought them to the house of Yosef. He gave them water. They washed their feet. He even gave fodder for their donkeys. So that's just one bringing in after another bringing in. It was that they brought him twice because the brothers pushed him, the man, outside until they spoke to him at the entrance of the house. As soon as he said to them, "Peace be unto you," they followed and entered him into the house. So he prepared the gift until Yosef was not there yet. He came for lunchtime. Kishamu, because they heard that they're going to eat bread. So they got prepared. They got prepared for lunch. Verse 26. And Yosef came to their home. They brought him all the gifts. They brought all the gifts out. And they bowed down to him. And Yosef asked, inquired of their welfare. He said, "Is your elderly father, Hazakin, your elderly father, is he still alive?" So the answer is Shalom. Yeah, peace, love and dad, peace to your father, to your servants. Our father is well, Baruch Hashem. They bowed and they prostrated themselves. And Rashi says, because of the greeting, to acknowledge Yosef's greeting, they bowed, including inclining the head. And again, the shtachava means that they prostrated themselves on the floor. Verse 29. Yosef picked up his eyes. And he saw Binyamin, his brother, Ben Imai, son of his mother. He said, "This is your little brother who you told me about." He said, "May God favor you, my son." So Rashi says, "May God favor you." In connection with the other tribes, we heard they marked favor with whom God have favored your servant. By Binyamin, it says, "Not yet been born." So Yamin never got this blessing of may God show favor to your children. So therefore Yosef gave him the blessing. That Yosef blessed him with favor. Yosef blessed him what the other tribes had already, the blessing of Jacob, that they find favor in God's eyes. So now Yosef gave him the blessing that he knew his brothers have had. And that ends the Chumash of today. We go now to the Tanya of the day, and we are holding the 4th chapter of Tanya. The Rebbe explained that every neshama and the nefesh of the kiss, the godly soul, is comprised of 10 concepts, divided into 3 intellectual and 7 emotional concepts. That's the makeup of every soul. So every soul has chachma, bina, das, has wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, which Alter Rebbe explained in depth. And he also has 7 midas, which Alter Rebbe explained. The 2 major midas, attributes of a person, is ava and yira, chesed and gevura, love and fear, kindness, severity. Now the Alter Rebbe continues. Yesh oid l'chol nefesh elikis. Every godly soul has shlosh levushim, has 3 garments. The soul possesses 3 auxiliary powers, which are the instruments of expression. Like garments, they can be donned or shed at will. When the soul utilizes any of the 3 powers, it clothes itself in them. When it does not use them, it divests itself. So they're like garments. They're the expression of way that the neshama expresses itself. Also, just as garments give an expression to the wearer's beauty and importance, so too the soul dons and utilizes the garments, its intellect and emotions find an expression. What is the expressions of the soul? How does the soul express itself in the body? That's the concept of thought, speech, and action. For the godly soul, self-understood, those are the garments. The Eibishter gives us a soul, and he gave us the way the soul expresses itself, and that's the Tayag mitzvahs. That's a 613 Torah mitzvahs. What does that mean? Oh, the Mekayim mitzvahs, when a person fulfills a mitzvah, he puts on himself a garment. Now the neshama has a garment. It expressed itself through an action. Ubedibur, when we're learning right now Torah, the soul expresses itself in speech, in the speech of Torah. When you occupy yourself in the 630 commandments, learning the 630 commandments, the laws of the Torah, when you learn, you are basically making a garment for the soul. So now the soul has come in through speech. So through action, the soul comes in through a mitzvah. Through speech, through learning Torah. And then the soul comes into your mind also. It clothes itself with your mind. So your mind becomes a garment for the soul when the mind is thinking godly concepts. So now the mind becomes a garment to the soul. You stop thinking godliness. Your soul retracts. And now your mind becomes a garment for something else. So you have to look at your mind, your speech, my mind, my speech, my action as garments. I either garment them with something godly, or I garment them with something ungodly. That doesn't mean bad or good, because I ultimately can garment them with even evil. That's what's called machshava ro'is. So I can have godly thought, I can have non-godly thought, and I can have evil thought. So the two latter ones, non-godly and evil, are just not godly. So both of them are in a certain context, the concept of opposite of holiness. Now it's better to have godly thought. It's better to have non-godly thought than evil thought. And a person should have evil thought. So to speech, I can talk with godly talk. I can talk regular talk, and I can have evil talk. I can have godly action. I can have regular mundane action, and I can have evil action. Those are the garments, the way I want to garment myself. So in essence, sometimes I garment myself with my Yetzer Tov, with my godly soul. Sometimes I garment myself with my animalistic soul. And sometimes my animalistic soul becomes evil, God forbid. And now I'm garmenting myself. I become a vehicle. A vehicle is like a garment, same thing. I become a vehicle for an evil. So my hand can either give charity. My hand can either just do nothing. My hand can slap somebody. So my hand becomes a vehicle for either holiness, or my hand can become a vehicle for evilness. That's why with the story of Moshe Rabbeinu, when he saw somebody pick up his hand to hit somebody, he said, "You're Rasha, you're a wicked person." In which way? By using your hand for an evil act. So in essence, I can look at everything in these three concepts. How am I going to garment myself? What am I going to be a vehicle for? In thought, speech, and action. Those are the three garments. And the power of thought is comprehension and in the capability of understanding the Pardes. Pardes is the garden of Torah. Pardes are the 4 levels of Torah. The word Pardes is like a literally meaning an orchard. Here, use an acronym for 4 Hebrew words: Pshat, Remez, drush, soif, which means, respectively, the plain sense of the verse, the intimation of the verse, the homiletical exposition of the verse, and the esoteric meaning of the verse. Every verse of the Torah is like a garden. You're going to clothe yourself in the basic understanding of the verse. You're going to clothe yourself in the what the verse intimates. And you're going to clothe yourself in the drush, the homiletical concept of the verse, or are you going to clothe yourself ultimately in the esoteric? So at the time that I am doing this, so we know it says this is the Gemara. Gemara says it's 613 commandments in comparison to the 613 organs of a person. 248 limbs and 365 sinews. Right? So it says the Zohar says, just as the human body consists of 248 organs, 365 blood vessels, corresponding to 248 positive commandments, and the 365 negative commandments. Altogether, 613. The soul similarly comprises of 613 organs. The spiritual counterpart to the 613 bodily organs. Each organ corresponding to a specific commandment. When through the three garments, thought, speech, and action, the soul embraces all 613 commandments, then all 613 organs of the soul are enclosed in all 613 commandments. Each organ of the soul in its related commandment. Note that the Alter Rebbe emphasized the word all the precepts which require physical action. And expounding the 630 commandment, all that he's capable of understanding. Should his garment fail any of all the 630 commandments, were he to omit one specific commandment, then the corresponding organ of the soul will remain bereft of its mitzvah, of its garment. So we have to look at every mitzvah as a garment. And therefore, I need to do a mitzvah. I need to do that's what the Rebbe wanted, that every Jew should put on tefillin once in his lifetime at least. Because if he doesn't put on tefillin once, then basically he's missing a limb in his body. You have to look at the Jew like he's missing a limb in his body. Putting on once that tefillin is going to change the whole dynamic. Sure, you should put on every day, but putting on once that tefillin is going to change his whole connection with God. And therefore, every one of us should do every mitzvah. Try to do every mitzvah at least once. Kosher once. Put on tefillin once, like Shabbos candle once at least. Sure, you should eat kosher every day and every moment. But again, do it once. Shabbos once. Try to do a mitzvah once. Because you should try, your neshama needs that mitzvah. Your neshama needs to clothe itself in that mitzvah. At least once. Because if you don't, then you can live 80 years and your neshama is not going to do this mitzvah that it came down to the will to do. Very sad situation. Everybody should try to do one mitzvah once. Thus we see, in a general sense, how fulfillment of all commandments with one's thought, speech, and action clothes the entire soul of all 650 commandments of the Torah. Alter Rebbe now goes on to specifically to specify which components of the soul are clothed by which particular garment. That's the beauty of Torah and mitzvahs in general, in thought, speech, and action. And then, as the Alter Rebbe says later on in Tanya, you have the 4 levels of Shat Remez Yusayv, which the truth is, we need to clothe ourselves, our soul, in all the levels of Torah. In the simple meaning, in its intimation of the Torah, drush, and its all melodic, and ultimately in the Seidah Torah. Our neshama needs to clothe itself in all the levels of the Torah. And so too in every mitzvah has these 4 levels. And each level has many levels, right? Even a simple meaning, there's many simple meanings of every verse. Like you imagine in the Remez, how many levels there are. And in the Drush, and especially in the Sod, in the esoteric part of the verse, there's many, many more levels. So that's why Torah and mitzvahs are never ending. That completes the Tanya of the day. Today is the 29th day of the month. Tomorrow is Chodesh. 29th day of the month. The Tillim today is chapter 140 to 144. Chapter 140 to 144. If you do that, you've completed the chitas of the day. Tomorrow is Shabbos. Tomorrow is Chodesh. We take out a very unique Shabbos. We take out 3 Sefer Torahs tomorrow. Unique Shabbos, not usual that you take out 3 Sefer Torahs in one Shabbos. This is a very special Shabbos tomorrow in Shul. And in Mitzvah, because it's Shabbos and it's Chodesh and it's Chanukah. And in Mitzvah, you should do the chitas tomorrow by yourselves. And we'll Mitzvah come together on Sunday again at 8 a.m. We'll continue chitas of the day. I wish you all a good Shabbos. I wish you all a wonderful Shabbos, a happy Chanukah. And may the light of Chanukah lighten our lives. And the Shabbos bring us content to our lives in a new month. The month of Tevis. The Chodesh Tevis bring us a new beginning in life. And let's hope the ultimate beginning, the coming of Mashiach. Have a wonderful and beautiful